Hi, scholars. After the article today, I want you to go ahead in the description box under the video, click on the link for Padlet, and please answer the question that you will find there. Remember to open a new tab to start typing. You hit the plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner of Padlet. Any questions, please text or email me, or you can message me on Dojo. Let's get started. Today's article comes from Newsela. It is titled, "This is How Planets Get Their Stellar, Often Nerdy Names." It was written by the Washington Post and then adapted by the Newsela staff on March 13th, 2019. Please follow along as I read the article aloud to you. Future explorers, take note. Any newly found ridges on the moon must be named for a scientist. If you want to name something on Saturn's satellite, Titan, there are limits. Mountains and plains on that moon are named after places in J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings universe and Frank Herbert's Dune book series. Io is a moon of Jupiter. Almost everything on it must have a name connected to fire or volcanoes. That's what the International Astronomical Union, IAU, says. It has decided on planet and satellite names since 1919. As stronger telescopes and new missions add discoveries in the solar system, the IAU's naming guidelines help bring order. The IAU's rules are in the news this month. The Carnegie Institution for Science in Washington, D.C. announced it needed help naming several moons of Jupiter. They were discovered last year. Carnegie scientist Scott Shepard spotted the moons using a giant telescope in Chile, a country in South America. The IAU is running out of names that end in E. A name must follow IAU rules. It must come from a character in Greek or Roman mythology who was related to the god Zeus. It's better if the name is one word, and it can't be tied to political, military, or religious activities of the past 100 years. It can't belong to a living person and can't be too similar to the name of other moons or asteroids. If the moon is prograde, meaning it circles in the same direction as its planet rotates, the name must end in an A. If it's retrograde, it circles in the opposite direction. Its name must then end in an E. There is a limit to the number of characters who meet the IAU requirements. The ends in E scenario is actually running out of names, Shepard said. Even the solar system needs rules. Gareth Williams is a scientist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics in Massachusetts. He serves on IAU groups and said that the guidelines are needed. Before the union began, the solar system was a mess. Fights sometimes broke out over new planets. Uranus was nearly called George's star after England's King George III gave money to the planet's discoverer, William Herschel. Improvements to telescopes meant many discoveries of the asteroid's belt's rocky bodies were made every year. However, not many scientists checked to see if their supposed discovery had been seen before. Maps of Mars and the moon were full of conflicts. A crater could have 3 different names, and a name might describe 2 different objects. New discoveries get the star treatment. Mary Adela Blagg was an English scientist who tracked each discovery and name. Her work led to the IAU's first official list of moon landmarks in 1935. With the start of the space age, people were making new discoveries by the bucket load, Williams said. The IAU started a working group for planetary system nomenclature, WGPSN, for naming. The spacecraft team of mission usually proposes ideas for names, said Rita Schultz. She is a leader for the GPSN. NASA, the U.S. Space Agency, flew its New Horizons probe past Pluto in 2015. Scientists on the missions team and at the IAU focused on stories of the underworld and voyages of discovery for names. So a dark spot on Pluto's moon Charon is called Mordor. Space is full of names from Lord of the Rings. Williams said he has pushed for new ideas. He is proud of asteroids named for musicians. They include Jimi Hendrix, Billie Holiday, and David Bowie. Mr. Spock, a cat, got his very own asteroid. Many names are allowed for new asteroids. These space rocks carry the names of the members of the Beatles band, runner Jesse Owens, and activist Malala Yousafzai. They are also named for mathematicians, engineers, and high school teachers. However, there are limits. When scientist James Gibson named an asteroid for his cat, Mr. Spock, some people thought that was wrong, Williams said. Now that is strongly discouraged. The IAU does not change names, so the asteroid called 2309 Mr. Spock still circles the sun.